lifts around the whole of the complex, but some of them you do have to walk a long way to actually get to. A bit weird. This is the luxury side of the hotel. This is the east side. That's the more recently built of the two, Block 24 and Block 25, named the luxury Bahia Principe Runaway Bay. And it's attached to the old hotel, which is now renamed the Grand Jamaica. And that's the one that we originally stayed in 10 years ago. And we are on the second floor, directly in front of us. We've had so much rain over the last 2 days that the pool is nearly up to the top lip. I wondered why every morning they're out with nets, thinking we've got that much debris. and you know, they're not fetching that much crap out of the water every morning. Smile, you miserable swine. Pretend you're enjoying yourself. Well, practice makes perfect. Very nice surprise. We walk in. Are you got to sleep on this side then because all the pillows are down there?
No. Why did you left the pizza and took the rest of it?
Oh well. Right. No, it's time. Say goodnight.
Good night.
Well, good morning, and I'd love to say it's another lovely sunny morning in Jamaica, but unfortunately it's not yet. We've had a couple of days of sort of thundery showers, rains, and some really good storms overnight, and got up this morning hoping to have, this is our last day, this is Saturday morning as we fly home, and I thought I'll have a quick wander down the beach, watch the sunrise again, and it's pretty murky. I think that within an hour or two the sun's going to break through all these clouds, but at the moment it's quite murky out there. You can see it's raining off in the distance, and it's still warm. It's always warm and very humid. I'm just off for my final turtle watch to see if that turtle really does come up in this cove, and if I see it I will grab you a picture, but I'm not very hopeful because it hasn't been there the last couple of days I've been looking. Oh, that's the first time I've heard a bug fly around my ears. They've been biting me. I spotted one in the loo this morning. There was a mosquito whipping round my legs as I sat on the loo. So they are in there. So make sure if you come, you bring something to do your best to repel them. Doesn't work that well, to be honest. I'm quite nastily bit up and down on my legs, but you've got to try and do your best. Okay, so I'm off down to the cove now, and you're quite welcome to join me. Personally for me, you can't really beat coming down to the beach at 6 in the morning when there's very few other people around. The tide is just lapping on the shore as it makes its way out, and the water thankfully is very, very still, and hopefully the weather is going to be kind to us today after we have just had a couple of days rain following the tropical storm Ian that swept to the south of the island and turned into a hurricane shortly after, so fairly lucky with that. So I'm looking forward to getting back in that water at some point today. Well, they say all good things must come to an end, and I suppose this is no exception. And yes, it's today, Saturday, on our way back to the airport for the longish flight home to the UK, and we don't fly until sort of later this evening. We'll be making our way back to the airport by our private transfer through ABA Tours. I just want to give out a bit of a shout out to Mark and say thanks for all your help, mate, and we organised a tour through Facebook, and you've been absolutely exemplary, done everything we asked for, and I can recommend ABA Tours to anybody who's coming to Jamaica and needs a transfer to any of the hotels. So yes, here we are, it's our last day. It's a little bit murky at the moment. I'm hoping the sun's going to brighten it up a little bit, maybe not too hot, because you don't want to be that hot, do you, on your way back to the airport. You know, nothing worse than being steaming hot and cramped in a car and then rushing through a hot airport. So, but bit selfish and a bit unfair on all those that are actually going to be sat on the beach day. So no, I'm hoping it's going to be a really nice day. The last couple of days, as I've said, we've had a lot of rain. Normally starts about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so you do get most of the day. And then it finishes again about 6, and then it seems to start again about 9ish. We are pretty saturated at the moment. Everything seems very wet and damp. That does seem to encourage some of the creepy crawlies to come out. We're getting a lot more bites this week than we did last week when it was pretty dry. And so yeah, there you have it. It's our last day. We had 14 days, and it's been 10 years since we've been back at the Grand Bahia in Runaway Bay here in Jamaica, and I can honestly say, without any reservation, it hasn't changed a smidgen. The hotel's got bigger. They built a second part of the hotel. We knew that, and they were starting to build it when we were here last time. But from a point of view of the quality of service, the quality of rooms, just the location, everything is as good, if not better, than it was the first time round. I was particularly attracted to this place because of this absolutely fantastic natural bay behind me, which I'll tell you, if you've got children, this is the place to come. It's like 3 foot deep. Not all that easy to swim in, but there's no coral, so you're not ripping your stomach open as you're swimming along. If you get far enough out, you can have a bit of a paddle around. But for the kids, literally, I mean, it's like 6-7 inch deep as you walk in, and it's just very shallow and very stable all the way out, and you're still only up to your knees. I'd love to bring all our kids here, all our grandkids, and let them have a paddle in this absolutely supremely warm water. It's ridiculous. It's like getting in the bath. You just don't want to get out once you've been in it. And so yeah, maybe one day when we win the lottery, I'll bring you all. So that's my promise to my grandkids. So yeah, if anybody's looking for a sort of recommendation or some sort of hint of where to go in Jamaica, I've got to say, we've not been anywhere else. Actually stayed. We've been out a couple of times on trips. I know there's a couple of Rio hotels not far from us. There's quite a few up the coast in Montego Bay, and I can't really comment on sort of comparison with this hotel. Now, while you're here, you will probably be approached by members of what they call the Privilege Club. I'm told by the people that own the hotels that they're not actually affiliated in any way to the hotel chain. They just seem to have took on the name. And you will be, as I say, approached quite a few times probably to go and have a look what they offer and maybe to join up into their scheme. I'm not going to tell you not to join, because we did 10 years ago, and this is what you get for your money: a nice Privilege Club bracelet. And basically the scheme, you pay up front a substantial amount of money for a number of weeks, and it varies from anything from, we bought 10 weeks, and I've heard people have 30 weeks or more, and you get so many free weeks, and then on top of that you get what they call the preferred weeks, where you get sort of preferential booking treatment, and but you pay slightly more for that week. What some people didn't seem to realise, as I've read on some of the forums, is that you actually also have to pay at the time of booking a nightly per person all-inclusive fee. So if you think you've got a damn cheap holiday, because if you calculate the amount that you pay and divide it by the number of weeks, and you go, oh wow, that's good, that's less than what we paid to get here, there is another charge coming. And then there's an annual charge as well to be in the club, and it mounts up. And my own experience was that one of the big sales pitches is they demonstrate how easy it's to get here, how cheap it's to get here, and we found afterwards that a lot of the information we were given was just, shall we say, fictional. We were shown a travel website where you could book flights for £200 each return. This is going back 10 years, only to find when we got home it was 700. Now that means that cost of the holiday had just gone up by £1,000, and we could actually get here in the same standard room cheaper through Thomas Cook. And so what you're paying for, what your £1,000 is paying for, what do you get? A a la carte meal every night instead of only 2 during the fortnight, and you get butler service, you get go-karts that take you around the resort. There's lots of things. Anyway, if you're interested, by all means go along and see what they've got to say, because it may have changed over the last 10 years. But what I would just warn you is take a very close look, and I mean a very close look, at the contract that they give you to sign right at the end, because our experience, and the experience of a lot of others, is that they made loads of notes and they demonstrated loads of things and had loads of calculations on bits of paper, and right at the very end they take all those off you. I said, can I keep them? And they went, oh no, you can't keep these, and they go and shred them. And then they give you this huge 70-odd page contract that you haven't got time to read through, because what they had was a bell on the wall with a counter, and they said, there's only one more place today. When that bell goes off and that counter turns over one more, that's it, we've got no more places to sell, which obviously was a load of BS. But you get caught up in the hype, don't you? And so we didn't really read the whole of the 70 pages of the contract, and we did find afterwards that actually there's a couple of clauses you need to be very aware of. The one that said there's no buyer's remorse, there's no cooling off period. That might have changed now, because I've heard that they do give you a very small 5 days, I think, cooling off period. And the one that says anything that we've told you during the sales pitch is irrelevant, only what's in this contract matters. And again, that may have changed. I've not seen a contract in 10 years, but unfortunately for us, it made it a very expensive deal, and I can't say that the extra benefits that we got made that much difference to the holiday, and I can't say that we've got our money's worth out of it, and certainly didn't get anything back. It has cost us more. So I'm just saying that they have 8, I think, of their chain of hotels, the Bahia Principe, offer 8 of the hotels with the Privilege Club, 2 in Tenerife, or there might be 3 now, but definitely 2 last time I looked, of which we stayed in 1, and the Privilege Club just basically doesn't exist in Tenerife. So I'm not quite sure why they add them into the offering, and I think it's a bit of a con when you get there and they go, oh no, we don't do anything like what the Privilege Club does, and yet you've booked and paid through the Privilege Club to go to Tenerife, which might not be important to a lot of people over in the States and in that sort of neck of the woods, but to us in the UK it's very important, because of course it's only 2 hours away, 4 hours away, and it made a big deal to us, because it meant that we didn't have to always fly to the Caribbean and spend that sort of money on flights. We could have a quick trip to Tenerife for a week maybe, and use the weeks up that way, but you don't really get what you're paying for. I wondered if that had changed again, but I have had a comment this week on a Facebook forum that we've joined for the Privilege Club, where they've said actually they've just been to the Fantasy Resort in Tenerife and didn't get anything for the Privilege Club, and that's a shame, because I think the whole concept's quite unique. You get something slightly more upmarket than the normal sort of TUI or Thomas Cook nowadays, but of course they've gone now. But you get something to the standard offering, and unfortunately now, and the other thing is the hotel have upped their game, and if you pay to stop in the luxury side of this hotel, slightly more expensive, you actually get all those perks in, apart from top shelf drinks, branded international drinks. Personally, I don't care about that, because we had a lovely, absolutely lovely, gorgeous cocktail last night from the normal bar, and why would I want to pay perhaps £600 extra for the fortnight to be able to get a branded rum get the proper Malibu rum instead of just the local coconut rum. Just my opinion, you don't have to take it on board, but it's left us with a bit of a bitter taste. What I've got to say is, like I said right at the start, they're not connected to the hotel chain as far as I know. They just happen to share the same name, and I don't want to sort of make you think that it reflects badly on the hotel. The hotel chains are pretty good. We've been in the Mexico one as well, Riviera Maya, and that is a gorgeous complex as well. And we would have no qualms, absolutely, to going back to Mexico to the Riviera, or back here to Runaway Bay. And we may actually look at going to some of the Dominican ones as well, because the only reason that we can afford to come here under the privilege scheme is that we collect American Express air miles, and that's made it just about viable. And this is our last it's our last Caribbean tour with the Privilege Club. Our weeks are about run out. We've got one left that we'll use in Tenerife probably, and we haven't gone to Dominican Republic because British Airways don't fly to the right airport there, and it's a 3-hour drive to the resort, which sort of puts us off a bit. But of course, if you're not flying British Airways and you're taking a package deal, then if the hotels in the Dominican are anything like the hotels here in Jamaica or in Mexico, then I would be quite happy to go and try it out, and may do, who knows. So as I say, we've had a good fortnight. We've missed a hurricane. It's been quite fun tracking hurricanes for the last 2 weeks, because they have been quite plentiful coming up towards Jamaica and off into the Gulf of Mexico, and we learned quite a bit about the hurricanes. We certainly learnt about the hurricane season, so we'll be very careful when we book again if we ever come this direction. But there's a whole world out there to see, and we've been to Jamaica a few times, and the reason we're back after 10 years is because we said, let's not go back to Mexico for a third time, because we've been there, we've done that, and it's a beautiful place, but our philosophy on travel has always been, there's other places to see. So we will be spinning the globe and sticking a pin in the map and seeing where we head off to next. We've got a few ideas in mind. Luckily, we've got a lot of friends and family who do a lot of travelling, and they drop into places and you go, oh wow, I like the looks of that, we ought to try that. We've got a few more cruises to put under his belt, so I very much doubt that we'll be coming back to Jamaica soon, but that's not because we don't like the place, that's just because the world's a big place and there's lots of things out there waiting for us, I'm sure. So this is me, Robert, on, don't forget it, the Robert and Sue's video channels. I say don't forget it because I keep forgetting my own title, that's bad. And I'll say goodbye from me and goodbye from Sue, who as usual is still fast asleep in bed. This is the best part of the day in my opinion, but hey, her holiday is stay in bed. So we'll say goodbye on this occasion. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you come back and see us again very soon. I'm sure we'll be posting something, maybe not as spectacular as Jamaica, but hopefully equally as interesting. So until then, safe journeys, good holidays, and bye from us. Bye.